Hello my fellow Archons and welcome. Today I have a very exciting video for you guys. I just got back from KeyForge Celebration 2022 and it was one of the best times I've had in a long time playing KeyForge with a whole bunch of other people. As you can see here, I am using the playmat that they gave us in the goodie bag, the KeyForge Celebration 2022 playmat. It looks really nice. I'm a huge fan of it. But this is what we're going to be using to open up. Actually, I've already opened it and I've played with it a few times, but I'm going to show you guys possibly one of my favorite Winds of Exchange decks that I got to open while I was there. It's called J. Corrin's Chief of the Mobile Port, which houses Equidon, Brobnar, and Sanctum. And this deck is so fun to play. I had two goals going into KeyForge Celebration in terms of decks that I wanted to open. One of them was an Emberling deck. Sadly, I did not get an Emberling deck. The other one was a Cursed Relic deck. This deck here does have a Cursed Relic in it, so I was super excited when I opened it up. But I just wanted to share with you guys the contents of this deck, why I enjoy playing it so much, and the sort of things it can do. So as you can see here, the token creature for this deck, let me get this out of the way. The token creature for this deck is Prospector, and this probably has to be one of the top 3 token creatures in my opinion. Emberling is definitely up there. There's one in Saurian that is similar to this. I think it's Reap, draw a card. Either way, Prospector is definitely up there. Just the fact that it's destroyed, draw a card is huge, because if I have a big board of even just Prospectors out there, I could just Reap out with them if they're not dealt with. But if the opponent deals with them, then I get to draw cards whenever they're destroyed. So I mean, either way, it's a benefit to me. So I really enjoy Prospector. He's pretty important. But this deck has some really cool things, even besides the Prospector. So going into Brobnar here, Banner of Battle has been reprinted. This one has a capture pip on it. Each friendly creature gets +1 power. Brick Nasty, the new classic Brobnar creature, 5 power. After another friendly Brobnar creature fights, gain 1 Ember. This is just the sort of classic Ember generation that we like to see in Brobnar, simultaneously fighting, doing some board control. Brick Nasty's awesome. Alright, now here's where things get pretty insane. So here we have Fresh Marks, enhanced with an extra pip of Ember. Destroy friendly creature. If you do, exalt 3 enemy creatures. So again, with the Prospector, destroying a friendly creature is not that bad of a price, especially since you're getting to draw a card with it. And then getting to exalt 3 enemy creatures is just so much value. However, I have another copy of Fresh Marks in here. This one also has an extra pip on it. But that's not all. I actually have 3 copies of Fresh Marks in this deck. This one does not have the extra pip, but just having 3 copies of Fresh Marks is wild. Pretty much getting to exalt 3 enemy creatures 3 times. That's putting 3 Ember on all 3 of those creatures. Fresh Marks is such a good card. Then we have Jarl's Vend. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Jarl's Vend, make a token creature. Jarl's Vend must survive the fight. I have 3 copies of Jarl's Vend. The third one has an Ember pip and a capture pip on it. But again, this is the sort of fighting power we like to see out of Brobnar. 7 whole power, and with the pretty decent effect of making a token creature when an enemy creature is destroyed. So that's already 3 cards that make token creatures right there, and making a Prospector. It's so good. Might Club, action, ready, and enrage a creature. So I think Might Club sort of has its own level of versatility, because like things like Iron Staff, Gauntlet of Command, they can do their own thing. Might Club here does its own thing, and I think it does it pretty well. I mean, getting to ready a creature such as Jarl's Vend and fight with it, or if you wanted to disrupt the opponent's creatures and then rage something that has a really good reap ability or something like that, then Might Club can do that for you. Press Gang, make a token creature. If an enemy creature was destroyed this turn, archive Press Gang. So here's just another token creature generator, and this deck happens to have 2 of them. And if the condition is met, it gets archived. So it's really nice having both of these archived. Call a Brobnar turn, pick them up, make 2 more token creatures, archive them again. Shockherder has deploy, play, ready, and fight with a neighboring creature. So Brobnar in this set is so good. There's lots of ready and fight effects, which you like to see in Brobnar. The creatures are big, the ones that are actually meant to be doing the fighting. I mean, obviously this one is more for the support of those big Brobnar creatures, but Shockherder is really solid. And then going into Equidon, here is the card itself, Cursed Relic, enhancing 6 extra Ember bonus pips. You cannot play Cursed Relic. Cursed Relic cannot be discarded from your hand except through card abilities. So Cursed Relic is pretty much a chain if you end up drawing into it. So ideally, you would want to make it into a token creature, or if it does end up in your hand, have something out there that you can use to get it out of your hand. I think that's a pretty fair price for enhancing an entire key's worth of Ember into your deck. So this was one of the cards that I really wanted to open at the celebration, and I'm so glad that I got to open one. Cursed Relic. Next we have Tourist Trap. Play, make a token creature. Action, choose a friendly token creature and an enemy creature. If you do, swap control of those creatures. It's a pretty interesting card. I haven't found like too many like crazy uses for it yet, but I'm sure at some point I'll find a pretty cool play with this card. But I think it just has a very interesting effect. Exchange Program, choose a friendly flank creature and an enemy flank creature. If you do, swap control of those creatures. So even more creature swapping, very in theme with Winds of Exchange and the sort of things that Ecodon likes to do. And again, if you have maybe like a creature that's loaded up with a whole lot of Ember or something, a flank creature, then you can swap control, so then all that Ember is on the opponent's side of the board and you can fight into it, get that Ember back. So yeah, Exchange Program I think will be a pretty versatile card. I haven't seen it in action a whole lot, but yeah, I like this one. Scrap Scrounger at 4 power. After Reap, swap an artifact from your discard pile with a card in your hand. I'd say this is probably a good way to get Cursed Relic out of your hand. If you have an artifact in your discard pile, you could put that in your hand, put Cursed Relic in the discard pile. So this one also has some versatile uses. Or if you have an artifact on the board that got destroyed, that's of high value, you could get it back and play it down again, force the opponent to deal with it again. Belligerent Guard. Some major firepower here in the Ecodon house at 8 power. Belligerent Guard enters play ready, and play your opponent draws a card. So the price of playing this 8 power ready creature is that your opponent gets to draw a card. Again, very in theme with Winds of Exchange and the things that Ecodon does. Yeah, I really like this guy. Pretty much you play him down, you can fight with him, you can reap with him, do whatever you need. And then moving on here to Forced Retirement. Play, destroy a creature. If you do, its controller gains one. It really reminds me of Sorry About That from Saurian and Worlds Collide, where you got to destroy a creature. I believe you destroyed a creature and its controller gains one. I think it's pretty much exactly Sorry About That. So you can use it to destroy an enemy creature that maybe has lots of Ember on it. You give them an Ember for doing so, or you could destroy one of your own creatures, give yourself an Ember, and again, with Prospector, destroy your own Prospector, draw a card, and gain an Ember. Prospector is just so good. Gemcoat Vendor, I really love this guy. I don't know what it is about him, but I just love him. Gemcoat Vendor is 6 power. Action, steal 1 Ember, deal 1 damage to Gemcoat Vendor. Ecodon so far has a lot of Ember control. This deck doesn't have like a ton of those cards. It does have a few. It does have a few of those Ecodon Ember control cards, and this is one of them. Here's another one of them. Generous Offer, just an insane card. Destroy friendly creature. If you do, steal 2 Ember. Again, destroy Prospector, draw a card, steal 2 Ember. This card is absolutely bonkers, and I love it. Hire On, another token creature maker. Make a token creature. If there's a combined total of 6 Ember or more between both players' pools, archive Hire On. And I have 2 copies of those. The second one has a capture bonus pip. Ornate Talking Tray, enhanced with an Ember. Omni, destroy Ornate Talking Tray, make a token creature. So you can just throw out a token creature on any turn that you might need one. The Old Tinker, enhanced with an Ember. Elusive, after Reap, discard a card from your hand, draw a card. This is another way to get Cursed Relic out of your hand if you happen to draw into it. And it just cycles through your deck faster. Discarding something that you might not need, drawing into something that might be useful or beneficial, just getting to see more of your deck in general. The Old Tinker is pretty nice. Moving into Sanctum, Glorious Few is a reprint. For each creature your opponent controls in excess of you, gain 1 Ember. So if you're falling behind in board, then this is just a classic burst card to get you back up to speed a little bit. We have Grey Abyss at 3 power 1 armor. Play, make a token creature. Each friendly token creature gets +1 armor. So it's pretty good. Pretty basic and not bad. Grey Augur, a reprint from Dark Tidings at 3 power 1 armor. Each of Grey Augur's neighbors gains after fight, gain 1 Ember. We have Katarina the Summoner, enhanced with an Ember. Play, after Reap, capture 1 Ember. Destroyed, make a token creature for each Ember on Katarina the Summoner. So there's a little bit of board control, or of Ember control here. And then once Katarina is inevitably destroyed, you do get a benefit for that of making a token creature for each Ember on Katarina the Summoner. So if there's 4 Ember on Katarina, then you get to make 4 Prospectors when she is destroyed, which that in of itself is just so much value. Lightbringer Outpost, which is the Sanctum Outpost. Action, put a friendly creature on the bottom of its owner's deck. If you do, a friendly creature captures one, or captures 3, I should say. Not captures 1, it captures 3 Ember. So there's just some more of that Ember control. And this has versatility with token creatures, because if a card that you might want later on was made into a token creature, you can put that back on the bottom of your deck and capture 3 for doing so. Very in line with what Sanctum likes to do. We have Battle Evangelist at 3 power 2 armor. After fight, make a token creature. Grand Melee from Dark Tidings comes back. Destroy each creature that does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors. Cassiel the Benevolent. This is where some more of those enhancements are coming from. 1 Ember and 2 capture. This one is enhanced with an Ember. We have another Cassiel the Benevolent. This one enhanced with an Ember and a capture. So as you can see, there are tons of enhancements in this deck coming from the Cursed Relic, the double Cassiel. We have Nidapult, such an amazing card. Action, the next time a friendly creature enters play this turn, you may have it enter anywhere in your battle line, ready. Just the fact that it comes in ready is so good. Something like you could deploy a Battle Evangelist, or yeah, you could like deploy a Battle Evangelist or any one of these other Sanctum creatures. It's really cool. And just the flavor of the card in general, just like a catapult that launches knights into battle, is hilarious. Retribution. If there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, destroy an enemy creature. Just some of that board control. And lastly, we have Taxing Journey. A friendly creature captures 1. Each of its neighbors that shares a house with it also captures 1. So this deck is so much fun to play with. I mean, just counting its raw Ember, we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's like 16 Ember in here. And that's not counting the effects of things like the Fresh Marks that just put more Ember into the game onto the enemy creature so you can get it. Like I said before, there's a lot of enhancing. There's the Cursed Relic, the double Cassiel. There's a decent amount of Ember control, the Taxing Journey, all the capture pips that are scattered around in throughout here, Katarina. What else is there? Generous Offer, Gemcoat Vendor. So there's lots of good stuff. And then obviously another thing that you should be counting in Winds of Exchange decks is the amount of cards that make token creatures. So in this case, in this deck, we have, let's see, 1, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards that make token creatures. So this deck is generating these prospectors pretty frequently, pretty consistently, and just having these prospectors out there that let you draw into more cards, into more pips, into more Ember control, board control, more creatures, whatever it is that you might need, even more token generators. So I mean, this guy could get destroyed, and then you might draw into a card that lets you make another token creature, and you just replace him pretty much immediately. Another really cool aspect about the Prospector, especially in this deck, is that when you're drawing so many cards, it almost negates if you do happen to draw into Cursed Relic. Because Cursed Relic is just a pure chain if you draw into it, a chain that you can't really get rid of unless you have the card abilities that do so for you. But if you're drawing so many cards, having Cursed Relic doesn't really hurt you that much, because having 8 or 9 cards in there, you're still playing just as much as you would if Cursed Relic wasn't in there. Prospector helps cancel out the drawbacks of Cursed Relic a little bit. But so yeah, I mean, this deck just rushes really fast, which is a lot of fun. There's just so many Ember pips. The triple Fresh Marks just add so much Ember into the game. And then when you fight into those creatures with other Brobnar cards with Brick Nasty, I mean, you're generating even more Ember that way. Everybody gets +1 power with Banner of Battle out there. It's just so much fun. This deck is so much fun. And the fact that Press Gang and Higher On, all 4 of those cards get archived. So I mean, the fact that they're getting archived means that this deck will generate token creatures even faster, or even more frequently, just because you can keep recurring them, getting them back in your hand. I think it's super cool that Glorious Few got a reprint, because if for some reason I do end up falling behind on board, which is very much possible, this deck doesn't have like an absolute ton of board control. It does have the Retribution, Nightapult can sort of act that way if you happen to have a Sanctum creature to throw down with it. Grand Melee's alright. What else are we looking at here? We have things like Forced Retirement can do it, although the opponent will get rewarded for it. Belligerent Guard. And then, of course, things like the Shock Herder with the triple Jarl's Vend. Brick Nasty, I mean, so there is a little bit. There's not an absolute ton. Hopefully I won't be falling behind on board too much because I can have those creatures down, but then also be generating lots of the Prospectors out there as well, so they can act as threats and act as extra creatures, bodies on the board also. And like I was saying before, just having these Prospectors out on the board, like just having like 3 or 4 of them, if they're not dealt with, I can call Equidon again, maybe play Generous Offer to destroy one, draw a card, steal 2, reap out with the rest of them. So if they're not dealt with, I have things I can do. But if they are dealt with, then I'm drawing cards from the opponent dealing with them. So overall, I mean, Prospector is just such a good token creature, especially in a deck like this where you might end up with a chain, like with Cursed Relic, or just if you want to draw into more cards with enhancements on them, or more cards that might be answers to what the opponent is doing. It's just so good. This deck is so much fun. So yeah, that is Jay Corrin's Chief of the Mobile Port. I have a whole lot more Winds of Exchange decks from the Celebration that I will be sharing with you guys, but this one I think is my favorite of the ones that I opened, so I really wanted to share it with you. Let me know what you guys think. I really want to see your guys' thoughts on the new card list, the new card pool, the combinations that can be found in this set. This set is absolutely bonkers. It feels so good and so smooth to play with. I love it so much. And I can't wait to open even more decks. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all again in the next one. I've got more Winds of Exchange deck content and Unchained stuff, and even a few other special videos regarding the event coming out. So I can't wait to see you all again in the next one. See you later.